All right, guys, welcome back to Road to 2000. At the start of this game, we were about 1850. This is a quick one. Let's jump in. So we are black. Opponent is Mahmoud, rated 1850. And I need to remember to block out my rating so you guys don't know the result yet. So opponent goes for an English. I don't know exactly what to play against the English. I mean, it's kind of more of a setup opening. So, I mean, the main moves are either e5 or to mirror is my understanding. If you guys have any recommendations of what to play against English, let me know down in the comments. But yeah, basically I just try to develop pieces normally was my plan here. I don't know the subtleties of why you'd want to go for this. I guess to better fight for the center. This is almost transposing into like a Queen's Gambit declined, like Terosh actually, which maybe I should have gone for because I do play that as black. But anyways, we take, they recapture, and here I went bishop f5, which I actually was pretty proud of because I thought I was going to get some maybe forking ideas like Jababa London type ideas here. But the computer says this is a mistake. And actually, let's see why I didn't quite look at this. I guess I don't have good squares to go to. Yeah, so the problem with my idea is I can't play knight g5 right away because they have this check. And I'm losing the knight, and this pawn holds this. So, yeah, they could have chased me away, and I probably would have realized, oh, no, I need to return. But instead, they gave me a moment to consolidate. So here I went queen d7, which again was a move I was pretty proud of. It's saying it's a missed win, but this move is actually very sneaky because now, first of all, from white's perspective, it seems like we're trying to just get in over here. We're setting up the battery. But now we block the check. So there's no longer a check over here. So now knight b4 appears to be a real threat. And they maybe underestimated it a little bit because, yeah, they don't have the check here. So now I am really threatening to fork. But here, my opponent found a really good move. I thought they were just hopeless here. So maybe pause the video and try to find what can white play here to defend and not lose material. So white played knight to d4, attacking the bishop, but crucially defending the c2 square. So yeah, I can't fork anymore. And if I do nothing, they're just going to take my bishop. Yeah, in retrospect, maybe I should just like continue developing and like I can recapture with the queen. But I decided to pivot. I was in my head, I was like, okay, let me try to be flexible now because I can go bishop h3. If they recapture, I recapture, and then they're going to have king safety issues because they won't be able to castle. But there is a problem with my plan. And the problem is after they recapture and I go here, what does white now play? So now the check does work. And again, because this pawn is here, it's blocking this. So I did see that like this check would exist, but I looked at it in this position where the pawn was still on d4. So like after I went queen here, I was like, okay, I'm fine here because yeah, even if they get the check in, I could always like backstep with the knight. But then after they played d5, the positions changed. So after we have all this in the game and the check comes in, I can't retreat because the pawn is on d5. So blunder by me, but I tried to make the most of it. So yeah, I mean, I'm down a full piece now. This is almost like resignable already at this point. But white's king might still have issues. It's not easy for them to castle. I maybe have like queen g2 ideas, and maybe I can get up to something, but I am also very underdeveloped over here. It's going to take a while to get this bishop out. This knight is awkward, and so it's a tough one from here, guys. But I always try to embody the never give up spirit, and I kept playing. So, okay, this is my third time recording this section because the first two times I still made some mistakes, but I think I figured it out now. So there's some really subtle things here. So there's a few options here as black. The best option is to play b6 and just prevent white from infiltrating. The computer's not saying this is the best move, but in my opinion, it is the best move because there's just lots of complications if you allow white to come in and take your pawn here. So there's a few. Yeah, I could go queen g2 here. I could go b6. I could go g6 and try to develop. Um, the computer says queen g2 is the best, but actually I don't know if I fully agree. It gets very complicated here. And like after they take, you go here, they take your other pawn. Now you've lost both of these and you're down 5 points of material. You go bishop here, and the problem is you can't, it's very hard for you to castle because your knight is hanging, versus when our queen was still on h3, our queen was actually defending the knight and would have allowed us that crucial moment to castle. So what ends up happening is like you try to do this, but then they attack your rook, and then the computer says you should just give up your rook so that you can castle and get to safety. And maybe some of you saw, oh, what if we go like rook c8 here? The problem is that white can sneak in with the queen and hit the rook, which is undefended, and you just don't have any safe squares here, so you're going to have to go somewhere where the knight can take you anyways, and you still lose material. And maybe you're thinking you can castle here, but you still can't castle because then you drop the knight. So you go down even more material. So kind of all nuts. So the best move here would have just been b6, and then I would have had time to just develop and get to safety. But in the game, I played pawn to g6. And my logic here was like, okay, fine, if you want to come grab some pawns, that's cool. My rook is going to get on a semi-open file, which is what happened in the game. And from here, I thought, okay, I'm getting ready to castle. My other rook is going to come into the game. I'm going to get some activity. So I'm trading these two pawns for piece activity and development. But at this moment, I've still been considering, I wanted to play queen g2 at some point to prevent white from ever castling. And I decided to play it here. But I think this was a crucial moment where I had to castle, because right now my queen is defending my knight. So I should have taken advantage of that in this position. And yeah, they can come attack me a little bit. I think I can maybe go here. Actually, I didn't look at this. So maybe I'm missing a detail though, because yeah, do they chase us off of this knight? Okay, you have some tactic like this where we're counterattacking the queen. Okay, and then I think we get to safety. So yeah, that was findable. I probably could have found that in a game with time to think. So yeah, this was the crucial moment. I had to castle while I'm already defending the knight, because otherwise, if I take the moment to step away from the knight, then I'm going to have to take a moment to step back. And that one tempo ended up being decisive in whether I could easily castle or not. And you can never move this knight, because if you move it, then you're losing your rook. So yeah, what happened in the game was I stepped in, and I thought that their rook was going to come to f1, but actually they went rook g1, getting a crucial tempo again. So here, I don't know if I started to realize I had problems. I think I did. But yeah, I considered, okay, I can either take this pawn or I can go queen e4. The computer says queen e4 was better, basically just centralizing the queen. And you can come in here and like basically you're just living near the king, and it's going to be hard for white long term to keep their king safe. Like they're just going to kind of always have problems. But you can see here like the knight is coming in, and they're saying like, yeah, you should just basically give up material. Like if you castle here, you're giving up your knight. Sorry. So this is definitely not easy to play as a human, so I'm not exactly sure why the computer is saying this. But honestly, sometimes the computer, sorry, there's like gardeners outside if you hear that. Honestly, sometimes when you have a very bad position, the computer doesn't give like the most resilient defense, because it's thinking in like computer terms, not in like what's most likely to give you a position that you can still kind of battle from, or that a position that your opponent could still like kind of mess up from. So anyways, in this position, I decided to take on a2, which I knew was not ideal, because now my queen is kind of shut out of the game. And that's something to be careful of in general, guys, with like this pawn formation like this. But I decided it was okay because, or, this was my logic of why I went for this, that I have some tension on this rook, and their position is kind of fragile. Like there's some tactics. So like if I take this knight, they can't recapture, because then I could take the rook. So therefore their queen is kind of tied down to defending this knight. And yeah, there's some dependencies here, and I felt like, okay, I can castle, and then this rook is going to come into the game. But in reality, I'm just like one step too late. So the knight comes in, and yeah, maybe best move is just a castle. But I found an in-between move. So actually, I went bishop takes b2. This doesn't quite work. I'm going to lose material, but my logic was if you take here, well, okay, let's go bishop takes first. So if you take here, which is what I kind of planned and why I played this move. Oh, I did not see this queen move. That's a filthy fork. Oh, wow, and then you take here. Oh, and then you probably castle, I bet. King takes, and I guess castle. Oh, no castle? Oh, you get mated. Oh, my God. Woo! All right, anyways, this is a very crazy game in terms of, like, the subtleties. So, anyways, see, I was planning, apparently wrongly, that if they then checked me, which I thought was the main threat, trying to win this rook and like almost mate me, that yeah, I could block with the knight and or block with the rook. Actually, does this even work though? You just take. Oh, then I can castle. Oh no, then it doesn't work because then the knight is pinned and I'm winning the knight actually. Crazy one, guys. I'm telling you, doing this video and this analysis is actually like really hard. Okay, but so my idea is that if you take my rook, I take your rook. But the problem that I overlooked is that I'm then losing my knight. So I went down even more material, and then now I'm down 6 points of material. I felt like almost resigning here. I mean, you definitely could resign here at this level and with this deficit. But again, I wanted to just, you know, really embody never giving up and trying to make white sweat a little bit for it. Try to make them earn the win. So here I'm trying to finally mobilize. I considered bishop f6 to defend this pawn, but I felt like getting developed was actually more important, and actually they can't take right away because the knight is hanging. So they go knight c6, and here I did also consider still playing bishop f6, but I don't think it really does what I want because the knight just takes anyways, and I don't want to trade pieces here because I'm down so much material. So I went rook a8, trying to mobilize the rook and get some counter pressure because there's some weird dependencies here. So like if I can take the knight, I could maybe also win the rook. So they take, and here I realize the problem if I come in is that knight d8 is pretty strong, hitting my f7 pawn. So I have some choices here because I don't have to do this right away. I could go bishop f6 right away, or I could also check the king now that the queen is no longer guarding the square. So I decided to go for a check. The computer agreed this was the best move. White decided to block. The other idea with queen h3 that I forgot to mention is that then it gives us access to the f5 square to help defend on f7. So for example, if we take and then they go knight d8, they're double attacking here, and there's no other way for us to defend the pawn except for queen f5. So that was a big reason why I made this decision. In retrospect, I actually didn't need to play this right now because by the same logic, if we leave the queen on h2 and we start with rook takes, they go knight in. We don't have a move currently to defend the pawn, but we can still throw in the check now that we need it to get that crucial tempo, and then we come defend. The computer says maybe there's some better stuff here, but from a human standpoint, I think this was a pretty good defense and probably an important position or important concept in this position. And here, again, now I have two options. So I could check, or no, sorry, not check. I could go bishop f6, hitting the queen, or I could go rook takes a2. Why didn't I do this? I didn't do this because I felt like they were just going to take my pawn, and I didn't see it felt like I was losing a tempo. So I took the pawn. But what I overlooked is white has a crucial move here to basically solidify their win in this game. So why don't you go ahead and pause and try to find white's very solid move to basically end the game. So white found queen to h4. And the computer just says this is just good, but I think it's actually even stronger than that because it forces the queen trade. So if you try to stay, like let's say I go like queen f5, then white has bishop check, and you're actually getting mated. So that's the threat. And basically no matter where I go along this diagonal, they still have that threat. So like even if I come like all the way back, they can just go check. I have to backstep, and then they can force the trade. So because of this, yeah, the trade is forced, which basically, I mean, they're saying go here, but it's the same. It's the same thing. You're just gonna get checked, and yeah. So this basically solidified the win. If you wanted to resign here, you definitely could, and I definitely felt like maybe resigning, but I decided, okay, let's just trade, and maybe somehow we can get some miracle here. So I decided now to go bishop back. I'm hitting the pawn, but mostly I'm just kind of like untangling. They go h5, and I think this was actually a bit of a mistake because I can go rook a1, pinning the bishop, and for now it's defended. But after takes, what's my threat now? What does black want to play here? And here I'll make their move. So yeah, it's my move. What's the best move here for black? So we want to attack the pinned piece, right? So we go bishop b2, adding an attacker, and they can't really defend it. It almost looks like they have some possible tactics to defend it. So I think what they should have done a few moves ago, just to back up here, once I evacuated a1, I had this threat. There's a couple different things they could have done. They could have, at this point, like moved the rook out of the way so the king can get out of the pin. Because, for example, like if now I pin, they can just step up and they have time to untangle where I can't stack on this because there's not a pin anymore. They could just take. So yeah, they should have done something like that. I mean, this is kind of a little bit of a fancy tactic sort of, and this is a very unusual position, locking the king in. They could have also, let's see, what else was I thinking they should have done in the game? Oh yeah, I was thinking actually knight before. If they had played knight before, I think I would have just resigned, because now this doesn't really work, because now they can go oh, they're saying this seems crazy to me, and they can go knight d3 and just add a defender, which seems more solid. So anyways, yeah, so white allowed this tactic and we won a piece, but white found a kind of crafty thing here. So they went rook g1. Actually, let's just take a moment to appreciate that we just won a piece back. So we were down 6 points of material, and now we're only down 3 points of material. So we're down 2 pieces, now down only 1. I know probably most of you were looking at this game and just thought it was totally hopeless, but here we are. We just won back a piece. So, this is why you keep fighting. This is why you keep applying pressure, keep looking for little glimmers of opportunities, because sometimes people make mistakes, and sometimes you can get that sweet, sweet comeback victory. And that's why you never give up in chess or in life. Anyways, yeah, so white allowed this tactic and we won a piece. But white found a kind of crafty thing here. So they went rook g1, which ends up forcing the rook trade. So after takes, they move the king, pinning the bishop, sort of. So my only way to like move the bishop and not lose the rook is to go bishop back to b2, and then they trade off. So they found a couple very key moves to basically win, like force the win here, where finding the queen trade, this was a very strong move by them, in my opinion. I overruled the computer, I think is very strong. And then also, so yeah, they did kind of blunder this tactic, but this rook back to g1 really hindered my ability to try to fight for a draw, because if they didn't find this move, like, I don't know, like let's say they just go like rook f3 or something. So like after I win a full piece, I still have the rook, and I can still like maybe, there's white's up 3 points of material, but like there's not that many pawns, and like maybe somehow I could get some sort of draw here. But yeah, I liked their idea a lot. So from here, I mean, I decided to keep trying to fight. I maybe should have taken this knight, I don't know, but yeah, they eventually attack this pawn, and I realized I actually can't defend it because they're like blocking my king out super hardcore here. So I had to go bishop back. We traded. Probably king takes was better here, but I was thinking pawn takes, because then I have 3 connected pawns, and like maybe somehow my king could come over and like stop this, and I have like some threats. In reality, I learned in this game that 2 connected pawns with a knight can just like steamroll you, because yeah, they're coming for you. So I had to allow the promotion, and yeah, I mean, I just played out a bunch of moves here. Again, you could resign here. And I don't know. What do you guys think? Is it disrespectful for me to play this out at this level? I'm not sure. In a 15-10 game, I'm kind of always of the opinion, like, just finish it out. Should be pretty easy for you at this level. So we did lose this one, and I lost, like, I don't know, 17 points or something like that. But the road to 2000 continues. Still trying to learn. If you guys have any tips for me in the comments, let me know. I'm trying to learn new things. So that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed this one. Drop a like if you did, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot.